And on my side, I always had Emerson Mnangagwa. I brought him in to government. He whom I had nurtured and brought into government, and whose life I had worked so hard in prison to save, as he was threatened with hanging, that one day he would be the man who would turn against me. But whose life I had worked so hard in prison to save, as he was threatened with hanging, that one day he would be the man who would turn against me. But there it was, there it is. It happened on the 15th of November. He was assisted by the army. I said it was a coup d'etat.
After reigning over post-liberation Zimbabwe for 3 decades, former ZANU-PF leader Robert Mugabe resigned as Zimbabwean president following pressure from military and ZANU-PF leaders. His political activism began in the 1960s due to his influence on the country's nationalist ideals. He was among those who led the country's liberation from colonialism, and after years of imprisonment and exile, he was elected prime minister in 1980. His rise to the presidency in the late 1980s and the events in the years that followed were marred with controversy and unpopularity, as his decisions and heavy-handedness towards any opposition drew a wedge between himself, citizens and the global community. While Mugabe's legacy is today characterized as complex, the former leader is still praised for his influence on post-colonial Africa. Mugabe died on the 6th of September 2019, aged 95. 5 minutes and 35 seconds in the ring is all it took for the then 20-year-old Mike Tyson to become the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. On the 22nd of November 1986, Tyson knocked out 33-year-old Trevor Berbick. Having won 26 of the 27 fights prior to this, spectators marveled at the incredibly hard punches he threw. After some time, Tyson's life took a turn for the worst when he was charged and convicted on rape charges. Upon his return to the sport, the infamous ear-bite attack on boxer Evander Holyfield led to his disqualification in 1997. Tyson retired from the sport in 2005.
But somewhere, somehow, God is very great. Like when we were sentenced to death, there is what is happening? What is this? You see that? It's after some times, it's only now this is real.
Reginald Sifatsa, Reed Mukwena, Moses Diniso, Teresa Ramashamole, Duma Kumalo and Francis Mukesi, also known as the Sharpeville Six, were granted a reprieve by former apartheid-era President P.W. Botha on the 23rd of November 1988. The Six was sentenced to death for the alleged involvement in the murder of Kuzwayo Jacob Dlamini, the deputy mayor of Sharpeville. Initially, Botha refused to intervene in the case, citing that he would be undermining the rule of law. The case drew the attention of the international community, who condemned the sentence, pressurizing the South African government to have the case re-examined due to inconclusive evidence. The Six were given amnesty by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. On the 24th of November 1995, Johannes Libonislo Ramuhwase became the first black mayor of Pretoria. Ramuhwase contributed to the integration of the old City Council of Pretoria with the local municipalities of Mamelodi. Born in 1951 in Easterus, Ramokgwase began his career in the education sector and was formerly a headmaster at Mamelodi High School and chairman of the South African Democratic Teachers Union, or SATU. So impactful was Ramokgwase's contribution to the city that a street in the Pretoria CBD was named after him. On this day, 18 years ago, 14 teenagers aged between 13 and 16 were rescued by law enforcement officials in the Johannesburg CBD and Rosettenville. Most of the rescued children were eventually placed in rehabilitation centres and various places of safety. Sadly, efforts to combat trafficking, notably child trafficking, continues to this day.